So just before you start, you mind introducing yourself a bit?
So I'm Fara Manuel. I come from the Philippines, specifically in Baguio. Tapos I started my PhD in September of 2024.
Great, cool. So Farah, what inspired you to take your PhD in New Zealand?
Okay, so coming from a university background, so fellow faculty from other colleges, they shared how they completed their PhDs in the University of Auckland. So there's two faculty that
Oh,
actually I
I didn't
encountered.
know that.
Mhm. And then they said that, oh, that place will fit you and your lifestyle because we really love the outdoors. So yeah, that thing somehow made an impact. Tapos I did some research, and prior to coming here, I learned the rich culture of the Maoris, the indigenous culture of New Zealand, and it's very similar to the northern Philippines because most of the students that I encounter and also the culture there is indigenous. So very similar. And then I did further research and I found out that this specific university that the two of them are in terms of world rank, mataas yung ranking nila sa Red Dot Design Awards. So specifically Massey Art and Design College ranked in the top three for the past 10 years. So I felt like this is something that um, is very nice to consider to go into a campus or university that keeps evolving and coming up with innovative solutions in design or in the arts. So yeah, I wanted to be part of that.
Oh, nice. So you mentioned na meron kang university background. I think you were a lecturer, di ba, here in the Philippines. So given that, and yung exposure mo to what university is like in the Philippines, how
Mm.
would you describe the differences than sa situation in New Zealand? Like, what makes New Zealand stand out as an option for PhD students?
Okay. Having spent over 10 years or so teaching in the university in the Philippines, I feel like the students here in New Zealand are being trained to be industry leaders and professionals because number one, they're given commercial grade facilities and tools to enable them to create products that are out there. So given that opportunity, given that they're given all that's the support materially because they have large scale printers, they have the best screens for producing media, and then they have good camera stocks. So I think they're being trained really to become industry leaders and professionals so that when they finish their degree, they're already very well trained in terms of use of equipment and also testing their ideas realistically. So other than that, I feel like there's very good support in terms of the Center of Learning office in that's connected to the library because the library here is very proactive in terms of training students on how to do research, how to do proper referencing, and they even offer private tutorials as well as consultations in case you have your work and you want to have it read by an outsider just checking for grammar or just checking the flow. And I think that helps a lot because most of the artists or the student artists and design artists or students na doing a research, that's one of the weak points because they want to go straight to the product. And yet to have that support here in Wellington or specifically in Massey University, it's a big help because all you need to worry about really is to create a work from which you can base your writing on, and they'll help you write that. Other than that, I think Wellington is a good place for arts-based research because it's, of course, the capital city. It receives a lot of attention compared to either. I don't know if this is a bias coming from a foreign lens because I'm just here, but from compared to other parts of Aotearoa, I think the suburbs and other regions receive less attention in terms of innovations and ideas. So um, yeah, I think once you make it here or once you're here in Wellington, also it's very accessible. Uh, a good place to go. Um, by car, you can tour the North Island and then you can easily cross to the South Island via ferry. So there's more exposure to what you can see if you're at the center here at Wellington. Also, the airport is very reliable. You can go between other international cities through the Wellington airport here.
On that note, kamusta yung how is New Zealand fitting dun sa active lifestyle niyo? Kasi you guys as a couple are super outdoors. How are you finding New Zealand in that sense?
Oh, it's very convenient to just hop on your bike and just go in the trail. Like when you, the moment you step out of your door, you're like 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from the trails, the bike trails, or maybe 15 minutes away from this community pool or the beach. So I think it's not, it's very um absurd not to try, outdoor activities because it's being just everywhere. And the people's lifestyle here, they're barely dormant. You see them out in the rain riding their bikes with their kids. And it really shows the Wellington culture that they don't really mind getting all these inconveniences ba. If we consider all these inconveniences, that's easily gonna stop you from doing something. But to them, it's part of the lifestyle. You have to, bear the wind, bear the cold, or the rain, and just go about your day. And that's very Wellingtonian attitude
Yeah.
figured.
Yeah, it makes me think of like when I see them tramping and then they have the kids strapped to them and I'm like, I don't know how they could carry the kids.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like completely normal to them and they're like built
Mhm.
for it. So just going back to your study, um, your situation is actually a little bit unusual compared to most Filipino international students because you are taking a PhD. We don't have that many PhD students,
Mhm.
and the admission process for an admission for a PhD candidate is very different because you're not just signing up for classes.
Mhm.
So for our viewers, can you tell us a bit about what that process of applying for a PhD in New
Mhm.
Zealand was like?
So that's actually right. It's quite rare to find scholarships within universities, specifically in the arts and design practice. But to give you an idea of how the admission process um, that I underwent is like, so typical of college admissions, you have to prove that you have enough funding, right? To complete the program of study, which is usually for a PhD, that's 3 to 4 years, maximum four. So for this, we had to solicit some help from a close relative to serve as a sponsor by signifying her ability and willingness to fund the whole 3 to 4 years of tuition fee and costs. What is quite different from this process for applying for a PhD is that um, prior to admissions or prior to being accepted in a university, you have to establish a connection with a faculty or a supervisor or a potential supervisor that's willing to take on your proposed project. So with that preliminary requirement, that also means you need to have a proposal on hand. So this was more challenging. The more challenging bit was to receive an email back from the people I've emailed, because you need to really reach out to the postgraduate studies coordinator or the actual um, professor who you think will help you fulfill your requirements for the dissertation. So lucky for me, I was accepted by a spatial design practitioner whose practice aligned with my research interest, background, and proposal. So Massey University was not the first university I emailed. I also emailed Canterbury, the University of Canterbury,
University of Canterbury. Yeah.
Christchurch, right? So very limited options for arts and design practice, but there are very good ones. So happily I got a reply from Massey. And after that, anyway, after receiving an offer of place, you pay the full fee for the first year, which signals the start of your visa application. So yeah, you have to go through individuals first. So first the coordinator and then the supervisor who's willing to accept your proposal, and then you can enroll.
Mm. So, how long did it take you to work on your proposal? What was
Oh,
like your timeline for that?
for the proposal, usually you base it off your expertise already. So, coming from my master in fine arts theory background, I just had to recompose or extend the research some more so that it becomes related to the area wherein I will perform the research, which is Wellington, and perhaps include other elements that would make it um, worthy of a PhD research. So you always start with your already what you have in your research repertoire. So that I think was crucial to finding out what your strengths as well is as a researcher and building up on that.
Mm. So, you mentioned that you had to find the right supervisor and
Mhm.
you had to have the proposal ready when you reached out to them. So, did they help you refine the proposal at that stage, or did that happen after you already started the PhD?
Oh, I don't know if my supervisor is just super nice. So Dr. Preston was very supportive in terms of the proposal writing, although I think at the very start she was hands off the proposal. And once we started with the enrollment process and I got the offer of place and then I paid the tuition, that's when we started really collaborating on how to further refine the proposal. And from there, I was able to um, create a more, what you call this, tighter proposal for my scholarship application.
Mm. Oh, great. So, on that note, of her being very supportive, I remember that she was actually also helping you with the scholarship application as well.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
so for one, PhDs are actually pretty affordable in New Zealand. Like you know this when we did the initial visa application, significantly lower yung fees per year ng PhD compared to like a master's, for example. Um, but you were really fortunate to get a full ride scholarship. So can you tell us a bit about how that happened?
Okay. Yeah, like I mentioned, it's quite rare to find scholarships in this specific field, which is arts and design. Usually, scholarships are granted for
Sciences.
sciences,
Yeah.
right? Mga health, and then engineering or anything that has to do with, um, yeah, just basically innovative design. So in the Philippines, it's very rare for one to come across university open calls related to arts and design. We always see a bias, no? But or even in embassy announcement, we don't really encounter that unless it's just for a short term or yeah, something that's quite rare. So I only knew about the program because of also my supervisor, Dr. Juliana Preston. She said I was very honest with her. I told her that I don't know if I have enough funds to complete the PhD research because that's 3 to 4 years. and I'm just getting support from my aunt, and I feel like maybe I need to work or something like that. And outright, she said, why don't you try the scholarship, the Massey doctoral scholarship? I know it's tricky because it's very rare that it gets awarded to arts and design scholars, and you're competing with other colleges, and it's very limited. So also, it's a merit-based grant, meaning I have to prove my academic standing or background, and then also come up with a proposal that's aligned with the research priorities of the university. So I tried to put those together, and somehow I managed to convince them that my proposal, which has something to do with mobilities and spatial design, or the way urban studies could be studied in Wellington. So I got accepted out of six. I'm one of the six that got the grant during that year, and even my supervisor was surprised. So uh,
Congratulations
one of
against
the
all odds.
uh,
Yeah. So how did the grant work? Because at that point you'd already paid for like your first year, right? So did they refund that? And what did the scholarship include for you? Like, so this particular PhD grant, what did it involve?
mm. So, actually, I did not think about the payment yet. But then my aunt said, "What will happen to our to our initial payment for the full
Yeah,
for the whole year?"
first
And
year.
I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, maybe I'll ask them what we're gonna do with that payment," and they happily refunded that. So it was refunded to me, but there's a miscellaneous fee of something amounting to 2,000 NZD, which includes also my student safe insurance already for the whole duration of my study. So 3 to 4 years of student insurance.
That's really good. To
Yeah,
like kasama sa 2000 for for 3 or 4 years of insurance. It's like really really good.
yes. And then so for the scholarship, for the doctoral scholarship, I'm receiving a stipend of 2,500 per month, which is equivalent to 90,000 NZD for the 3 years. And then I'm also not paying for any tuition fees, and also, yeah, but I guess I can also work under the premise that I'm working 50 hours on my research within the week, and then the rest could be 500 hours could be spent on working for the full duration of my PhD. So I have that liberty, and I'm actually doing part-time right now.
What kind
So
of
with
part
that,
time were you doing?
oh, actually, it's something that it's not related to design or
Not
art.
related.
It's
Yeah.
part-time with my son's school, so it's
Oh, that's cool.
kitchen
Yeah.
assistant. So it's not so, yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's good, because like it gives you enough brain space to do your PhD, but then
Yeah.
it also keeps you, kind of busy enough and close to
Mhm.
your son. So that's like sounds perfect. Sounds very Kiwi to me
Yes.
as a work life balance choice.
Yep.
All right. So I think like the scholarship you have is kind of what a lot of Filipinos hope is available for them.
Mm.
Um, but I do think that, if we're being realistic, they only really like scholarships at this level where you have a full ride for tuition and a stipend only really happens in the PhD space.
Mm.
Maybe there might be some grants in like master's by research at the university, but again, like you pointed out, they typically are often granted to people like in sciences and health.
Mm.
Um, so it's really, really impressive, massively impressive that you bagged one of those six scholarships. That's super happy for you. So, you've been in the PhD for a couple of months now. How has life changed for you since moving to New Zealand?
I think yeah, living in Baguio, so that's our previous hometown. I feel like we've been largely concealed in that space because it's landlocked and we usually do everything within like a very short radius. Within a short radius, we can go anywhere like to the grocery, to the school, and to our outdoor playground. But beyond that, we felt like you know, this move to New Zealand is like a big change for the family. Become more outgoing now, and we have managed to come out of our shells a bit because
Yeah.
we don't know anyone, no relatives, no friends. We were just trying to absorb everything that's new and figuring out how things work. We also learned to ask for advice from strangers, and sometimes because we can't rely on just online research. So
Mhm.
I think gotten more closer to nature now. And though we've always felt close to nature back in our hometown, we get to enjoy more outdoor activities because there's more time, less people to connect with.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, it's just been amazing just exploring everything that we can just, you know, have access to and for free.
What's like the most memorable bit of advice or conversation you've had with a stranger in New Zealand?
Huh. What will I say? Oh, that's hard to figure out. There's a lot of random things that they will always share random things about you know, the weather or how tricky it will be for us to navigate certain trails
Yeah.
given the scenario, for example. So you will get a lot of random tips along the road. um I just like how they're so into weather here. Like when the weather's glorious, like you will encounter people on bikes just shouting like, "This is the perfect weather for this activity, eh?" They're just complete strangers and they're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm so happy that this weather is, you know, enabling us
Yeah.
to do our thing." And yeah, you'll get that from people you encounter on the road.
Mm. All right. So looking back at your family's move to New Zealand, you mentioned, it was like quite a big change for you guys.
Mm.
What would you say made the process easier or more manageable for you?
I think it's largely connecting with people offshore, right? Like family from the Philippines and just, you know, sending them daily messages, updates. And also, I don't know, I'm really lucky with my supervisor. She even brought us like kitchen and beddings the moment we arrive here.
Wow. Yeah.
Kitchenware. So it's like being lucky around people who are willing to help really changed the way we adjusted, because otherwise we would probably be clueless on what to do. We have good neighbors who reached out like, hey, if you need anything, just, you know, knock at our door. Or we also chose a very good school for our son. It's small enough so that everyone knows who's in there, but also the staff is very approachable, and yeah, they're you can feel that they're very sincere. They want to help in case you need some help figuring things out, like where to bring your son for a checkup or and all those things.
Mm. So, in your time in New Zealand, what would you say has been the most rewarding part of your PhD journey so far?
Hmm. I think if I were to connect my yung mga perks I get from being a scholar here, I feel like it's a privilege as well to represent the country. Like they know, oh, there's a Filipino scholar here. And by the way, there's only two I know in Massey doing one is master's and then me PhD. So if the moment they met me and I said I'm Filipino, oh, there's another MFA student who's Filipino, and that's all. The rest are, of course, coming from different areas. So, given that privilege that you're representing your culture, also your worldview, it to me is one of the most priceless experiences, because you become a guinea pig now of you represent that culture, and then it's also posing a challenge because you want to bring out the best, of course, of this experience. So you need to. I felt like that there's a need for me to also step up so that my colleagues or my people who witness my work in the art circles are also aware of our traditions and cultures, and also the kind of connection that I get from this experience is just really priceless. It's something that I cannot that virtual connection cannot replace. So
Yeah.
I think this immersive experience is really the priceless bit. Other than, of course, having that title in the end. Um,
Mm. So that being said, like how great of an experience it's been for you. What advice would you give other Filipinos considering further studies in New Zealand?
My advice mainly is to be open to possibilities, work really hard in terms of um, prioritizing your practice, and also becoming more aware of how you operate in a larger ecosystem, so that when you bring your work outside, it's more understood, or it's more at the level of a maybe a global audience. So work hard, but at the same time, luck or your opportunities will only come if you put all your best into your work. Other than that, I feel that it's also 50% luck, because not everyone will have this opportunity to have a full scholarship. But at the same time, there are venues or possibilities for you to still work and proceed with your PhD. I think, especially when your practice is aligned with services that are in demand here in New Zealand. So I think there are workarounds that can be made, not totally relying on scholarship alone. So as long as you are committed to finding a place here or an opportunity to work or study here, I think those things will follow. So yeah, just keep working towards that goal.
Yeah. Made me think, like fortune favors the bold, but opportunity favors the prepared. So
Yes.
you're like absolutely right.
Mm,
Sometimes you have to wait for the right circumstances to line up, but you got to be prepared to seize a moment when it comes.
yes.
So thanks so much for your time, Farah. I I don't know if you realize this, but one of the most common questions we actually answer is stuff about scholarships. So
Mm,
I'm sure that people who are gonna be watching the channel are really gonna be interested to know whether their expectations of scholarships are realistic, how would
mm,
they go about it, what they could do to prepare. And I also think what's quite unique about your situation is like you mentioned like the embassy postings,
mm.
um, and normally the scholarships that Filipinos become aware of are the ones that come through the Manaki scholarships or the Manaki program, which is quite different because it's an aid scholarship. So Filipinos are designed to go back after the
Oh yeah. Mm,
so medyo different siya. Especially if you're the type of person that you wanted to move to New Zealand because you love it so
mm,
much, you really enjoy the experience, lifestyle, and all of those things.
mm.
So I think for people who are watching, they're gonna find that parang very insightful about alternative scholarships that exist in New Zealand.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Can I add
thank you
something?
so much. Yeah, 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 sure.
I would. I would also like to acknowledge your contribution, because
Oh, thanks.
if not for Rafi and Koru, I think we would have chosen a different pathway.
Yeah.
And this PhD pathway was something new to us, and we never considered that it's the prime path for us, that it would really work. And having that insight from Koru, from Rafi, shared to us, that's how we got into this in the first place. So without that wisdom of directing us to a course that would 100, not really 100%, but maybe 99.9% would succeed, right, with our effort as well, then I think that made the deal. Like that's basically what got us here in the first place. Good advice.
Oh, I
So
didn't even realize that. Now you
uh,
were considering a different pathway. Was it like you mean like you were thinking of masters again? Or
yes,
like something entirely different?
that's
Yeah.
initially what we inquired about, remember? And then you said, well, why
Yeah.
not go into the PhD track? You're already ready
Yeah,
for
because you had like the perfect background. Say you're in your university lecture, you already had your master's. Some people honestly will do a second masters, and sometimes it's gonna be like a different type of masters. Pero if I'm being super honest, like a lot of agents really don't float the idea of PhDs because
it.
they don't really earn as much as from them. And so, like in your case, you actually didn't earn any commissions from the school. So but for us, yeah, we really pride ourselves on being client first. So that was the real, yung talagang best fit for you. And you really wanted to do your PhD anyway. So I do remember having that conversation that it really was on the cards for you. So parang, why not do it in New Zealand? Tapos parang, everything went in your direction plus pa the scholarship. So parang cherry on top talaga. Yeah. So I'm super happy to hear about you and how things are going with yung PhD mo thus far. Um, Looking forward to our next catch up. Hopefully, we get like more updates than like what Aki's been up to and how things are going with your son. Yeah, so don't be a stranger. Thank you so much for your time, Farah.
Thank you, Rafi.
All right, thanks. Enjoy the
Thank
weekend.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.